get started. Cameras, are you all set? Perfect. Thanks for coming today. My name is Sarah. I'm with the Metropolitan Redevelopment Agency. We're here downtown at the Chamber to talk about a downtown bid and TIF. You'll hear more about what that means soon. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Mayor Tim Keller.
Thanks so much. Thanks, everybody. All right, so we have a series of several initiatives that we're going to share today. But I think as a whole, we're announcing together with everyone who's here a real shift in city policy with respect to downtown. And I will tell you, parts of this shift include some old ideas that we're bringing back. But other parts of this shift are brand new. And there is one fundamental thing that is very, very different about our approach that we're sharing today. And it's basically this. I think I believe, at least in some form or another, I will be the first mayor to actually just say we need to put the power of downtown back downtown. Part of the problem has been city government. I think part of the problem has been mayors, and that includes me. Part of the problem has been politicians. The way we have looked in terms of helping downtown to a singular magical person or idea to save downtown is the problem. That attitude is the problem. Downtown has to save itself, but we're going to help, and we're going to put skin in the game, and we're going to be there because we're part of downtown. Now, this is where you all might be like, what on earth is this guy talking about? What I am talking about is three things. Number one, we are going to give downtown its money that it generates for itself. So how do you give people power? We are going to give downtown funding, and we are going to give downtown, in many ways, operational control of its own community. That's what this is about. So how do we do this? The funding is about tax increment financing. Our MRA director is going to walk through what this means, but the idea is basically that a portion of the tax revenue that is generated downtown will stay in downtown and be controlled by downtown, as opposed to a mayor or even a city council. That's that financial empowerment. That's that real change about having, sort of control in all sorts of ways, but including resources, right, to redevelop downtown, to improve downtown. That's what that is all about, and that has to do with tax increment financing. That is a law that we helped pass up at the state legislature. I want to thank our legislators for passing that. It is applicable to all of New Mexico, but we are going to do it, and it was designed for our purposes to start downtown. We may do this in other areas too, but we're going to start downtown. And so the other aspect of this, which Terry's going to walk through, incredibly, we already did this in 2002. Was it 2002? 2003. Believe it or not, the city actually did the exact same thing. So compliments to the mayor and Councilor Griego and Councilor Heinrich, who were part of this. We all know who those people are, I think. But the city actually never implemented it. So basically, starting this week, we are going to implement that old law, which means we're going to start gathering property tax for downtown. And we've already talked to the assessor's office, and we're sort of able to do that. And then with our counselor's help, we're going to ask City Council to give us the authority to create the TID for all the tax revenue that comes in downtown. So that's number one. That is restoring the resources, the investment potential in downtown. Number two is about that sort of operational control. This is about a business improvement district, or better known as a BID. Now, we have tried this in the past, but in the past it was sort of the opposite approach. The city was like, we're going to create this, and the community that lives here is going to run it, and the city, sort of was out of the picture. Now, we're going to do this again, but the city is going to be a member of that as well, and this is going to help with all sorts of things with respect to how we beautify and invest downtown, and how we also keep it clean and safe, because the city is going to be a partner, truly a partner. We are not going to be just telling everyone what to do. We're going to decide this together with the community. And the third thing is we are going to do much more with respect to holding absentee landlords accountable. This has been a long-standing issue downtown. Fortunately, we have a wonderful city councilor, Baca, who's going to speak to this a little bit, but we are going to be proposing a host of changes specifically for downtown to deal with these buildings that have been owned by folks from out of state for generations, and also are not doing their part to lift up downtown, or frankly, to fill that vacancy, or even just to sell the property, which has been an issue. I mean, sometimes they don't even answer the phone. And so these are the kinds of things we're going to be working on in the fall. So if we can do these things, we are literally going to put the power back into the downtown community's hands. And we're also going to be with them at the table for problem solving. So we are truly creating a partnership that is real. It's based on literally millions of dollars that the TIF district is going to create. We estimate in general it's about $200 million over the course of multiple years. And then of course operationally we're going to talk about whether it's events and planning, how that improvement district will work as well. And so we'll share a lot more details on this, but that is a good reason to bring up the guy who knows all the details and has been putting all this together, the director of our Metropolitan Redevelopment Department, Terry Bruner. Terry?
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you. So we're real excited today to be a part of this effort at the Metropolitan Redevelopment Agency. We're the agency at the city that buys, sells, redevelops properties, enters into public-private partnerships as well. This is really about partnerships, organization, and money. So partnerships, a business improvement district means we are in partnership, and businesses and property owners are in partnership with each other to try to improve a designated area, and in this case, downtown. So across the country, bids are a popular mechanism to give rights, in a sense, back to commercial interests to run parking or run marketing or run some extra security in a specific area to attract more business activity. We have an ordinance in the city that allows for this to take place, and business owners and property owners can petition the city to do a study and create a business improvement district, and then assess a fee across those property owners that group of property owners then can use in their own interest to promote their businesses. It's really, in a sense, a business rights, property owner rights kind of organization. So if they want to do extra special efforts downtown, they can. This is commonly used across the country in cities and communities that you're all familiar with. So the bid process is underway. We've had some wonderful property owners come forward and get this organized, and we hope to see any day now a letter from them asking us to assist with it. On tax increment financing, this is where the money comes in. So again, across the US, this is what communities have used to improve their downtowns. Colorado Springs, Tucson, Denver, all spend upwards of $60 million a year downtown through tax increment financing. We don't do that. It inhibits our ability to really go after properties and redevelopment ideas that are out there. Constantly, our office hears about great business opportunities and property opportunities that we would love to get into, but often we're underfunded and can't do it. With a TIF, we are going to take an increment of the property tax growth in the area and reinvest it from where it came. So if you are a property owner in downtown, the money that you're paying in taxes is going back into downtown, not into other parts of the city necessarily. The same is true with gross receipts, and that's a new ability we have under state law. So we will proceed as soon as we can with a property tax-based TIF, where the assessor will look at all the properties in the area, assess what the value is at that moment, and any growth on that increment, as we say, that increment of growth over 20 years, we'll take a portion back and reinvest it downtown up to 75%. We're also interested in potentially having the county join in on that as well. And then secondly, this new state law allows us to take up to 75% of the increment of growth of city, county, and state gross receipts tax. And that's a brand new program. The state anticipates taking applications in the first of the year. So we are going to work with council closely to pass an ordinance and work with our partnership with the state and with the county to have them join in as well, and then see that pot of money, in a sense, that we're able to invest downtown grow incrementally, and the term is 20 years. So what's great about the 20-year growth timeline is we can plan. We're not living year to year by the budget we're given. we can see into the future how much revenue is coming in and then anticipate the opportunities that are downtown that we can invest in. So again, this is what cities have done downtown for years, and it also represents a lot of our current efforts downtown under the Mayor's Downtown Forward Plan. And I want to emphasize that just a few days ago, we announced our Community Connect program, which is up to $20,000 per business to install security cameras that are tuned into our real-time crime network, and hopefully get more eyes on the street for our local downtown businesses. So all of this is a way that we are placing some special attention downtown. And again, developing these great partnerships. We couldn't have passed the legislation at the session without the help of our chamber, our Regional Economic Alliance, and property owners here. So these partnerships are crucial. And then getting the organization together. I'm looking forward to working with the BID, hearing their ideas, figuring out what we can co-invest in, and then having the money to actually do it and execute on those ideas over the course of 20 years is exciting to us at the city. So with that, I'll turn it back over to the mayor.
All right, thanks, Terry. All right, and many of these initiatives certainly require our city council. And we're fortunate to have a city councilor who lives downtown. I think he's lived here for about 20 years and understands these issues probably better than most. And so I want to welcome Councilor Joaquin Baca.
Thank you, Mayor Keller. You know, one of the great things about living downtown is the sense of community. You know, all the people that live down here, all the people who work down here, people who own businesses down here, property owners. There's just so many different stakeholders. And for those who've been here a long time, we love downtown. You know, even with all its rough edges, you know, there is that perception that downtown is this dirty, unsafe place to be. There's a little bit of truth to that. But I would argue it's mostly just uncomfortable, especially if you don't live down here. And we can fix uncomfortable. We can address uncomfortable. We can make it comfortable. You know, to borrow a line from downtown Albuquerque News, a lot of the time the mayor and others are swinging for the fences for home runs. You know, the TIF, the rail trail, the bid. I 100% support all of that. And we can do a lot of the smaller things. We can hit singles and doubles. We can play money ball. And what I mean by that is all the conversations over the years, you know, if we just did this over here, if we just did that over there, or why hasn't that happened over there? We're going to hit all those little things. And examples of that are, you know, updating our stormwater permits so that we can clean the sidewalks regularly, you know, enforce the codes that are already on the books that, you know, keep our buildings safe and clean. You know, raising the standard. You know, for too long, it's just been normalized for all these buildings to be falling apart and nothing to be happening. And, you know, we can do something about that from the city standpoint. And so that's a big part of it. And also, you know, it's not just, you know, it's a carrots and sticks for a lot of these things, on a lot of these vacant properties. But it's also bringing in some amenities, small things, bike lanes on Central, pickleball courts on some of the parking structures. All the little things that don't take a whole lot, that can happen quickly, but all together make a big difference, especially when you start bringing in the TIF, the rail trail, the underpass, that central underpass. I'm going to give the mayor and Terry Bruner a lot of credit. That's a huge one. Getting that fixed by itself makes a big difference. So with that, I'll turn it back with the mayor.
Now, we have many stakeholders, of course, downtown, and, you know, first and foremost, the folks that live here, including our councilor. But we also have folks that work here each and every day, and of course, folks who you know, own the properties down here. But we have two organizations here with us today that also can attest to the fact that, as Terry mentioned, you know, when we go to other downtowns in other cities, this happens to all Burqueños, and we're always like, man, like, why isn't our downtown like fill in the blank? And the funny thing is, the answer is almost always the same. They have a TIF and they have a bid. Like, you know, so there is not actually real special sauce to this. We just got to actually get it done. And so that is one thing I've heard loud and clear from these next two organizations. So let's begin with our host today at the Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce, Terry Cole.
Thank you so much, Mayor, and welcome everyone. This is an exciting moment for us. And I have to tell you that we've been through a lot of exciting moments that start like this over the years about downtown transformation. It has been an issue that our board of directors and our membership has cared about year over year over year. So have there been some improvements? Absolutely, absolutely. But has there ever been anything yet really at scale that would make a difference and truly transform the downtown area? And the answer is no until today, and with the announcements that our good mayor is making. Because the bid and the TIF are at scale transformations. That's the potential they have. And I have to just give Terry Bruner a pat on the back. I love it that we have the same first name, because when he does really good work, people think it's me, and I take credit for it. And when he screws up, I make sure they understand that my name is different. I'm kidding, Terry. But Terry did a great job here. He did some research. He found the way to move forward by statute, passed by the city council years ago, for us to move forward and create a TIF, like overnight, without all the complications all of us were expecting to have to manage through. So good for Terry and good for the city of Albuquerque. And then good for Mayor Keller, because I'll tell you, one of the stumbling problems we have had year over year has been the difficulty and the obstacle of, let's just say, City Hall. And it has been a problem, and it has stopped and slowed down our progress. So this mayor is our North Star on downtown. He wants to be helpful. He wants to be supportive. He doesn't want to get in the way, and he has committed to keeping that path forward with us. And that, ladies and gentlemen, will make all of the difference. We were so close on so many things over the years, and government bureaucracy on this issue of downtown just simply got in the way in a number of ways as an obstacle. Well, no longer. So that is the other thing we are very, very excited about. You know, when Del Esparza, who is our current chair and here today, and Doug Majewski, who is our chair for Downtown Big, and I began the programming and the thinking for this year, both of them said to me in one way or the other, Terry, as the president of the chamber, you got to find a way to rock this off dead center. Rock it off dead center. And so thank you to Terry Bruner, and especially thank you to the mayor for my being able to tell Del and Doug that we will do that. So thank you so much. We're very, very excited. And again, Mayor, thank you very much. Terry, thank you very much.
Well, thank you so much, Terry and Chamber. And, you know, I also, it's interesting because people have been telling me these ideas for 10 years too, or, you know, even these are, again, ideas that have been around, and I hope at least we're actually just going to listen and give it a chance and stop sort of debating it. That's also fundamentally what I appreciate, because the Chamber has been advocating for this for a long time. And so thank you for not giving up on downtown. As you can see, their office is here. It means a lot to the city that our Albuquerque Chamber of Commerce is right here. Now, relatedly, of course, we have a couple of entities that help with all things economic development in the city, and actually in the metro area. And so, with no pun intended, area is also here with us, and Danielle Casey. And you know, their job is to market Albuquerque and also the metro area. But the whole thing is, you know, at the end of the day, any company that is looking to the metro area is going to at least ask the question or visit or maybe want to come to downtown, at least 2 out of the 3. And so we have to make sure that we remember that as downtown rises and falls, for better or worse, just like every other major city in America, so goes Albuquerque and so goes New Mexico. Let's remember, this is the only urban core in 1,000 square miles. That is what area markets each and every day, and that's why they are also a wonderful partner at the table for how to make this work. So bring up Danielle Casey.
Oh, goodness. Thank you so much, Mayor, for having me. It is pretty amazing with all of the people and organizations in this room. This is what partnership is about. So to echo the mayor's comments, why does a regional economic development organization care about downtown Albuquerque, right? We're trying to land big companies and large-scale manufacturing and go out and market. I would say that it would be an absolute horrible mistake for a regional economic development agency to not be focused on downtown for all the reasons he outlined. The urban core, every site selection consultant or company leader or C-suite executive that I've ever had a conversation with looks at your downtown as an indicator of the health of your community. You know, it's the spirit of our culture. It shows what you can do and the type of activity and entertainment you can have in a community. And so it matters tremendously. When I first got to the market a few years ago, I was kind of assessing things and looked around and I went, boy, we don't have downtown tools. That's the problem. We're not able to leverage the tools that other communities are leveraging to invest in their downtown community. And quite frankly, we also need the business community and the property owners pulling together. Area first got involved in this conversation a couple years ago when an advisory council that we formed of technology businesses in our community, I brought them together and said, just tell me what Area can do to help your company grow and expand and stay here. And in about 30 minutes, they sat around, about half a dozen of them, they said, well, downtown needs to become cooler, or we're not going to be able to attract and keep the talent that we want in the community. And I said, oh my goodness, this means I need to start thinking about downtown and how we can be a partner. Area's board of directors has been very intentional over the last few years about identifying where we lead and where we partner and where we support. And we had some serious conversations about Area needing to be a partner and a supporter in efforts in downtown because it matters to all of us. So all of the tools we've talked about today are critical. We've been involved in conversations around the bid in particular. I have a little bit of experience in that in my prior roles, enough to be dangerous is what I like to say. And what I'll underscore is that it really has to be led. I echo the mayor again, has to be led by the property owners and the business leaders in the community. We can't continue to look to the city and say, it's all your fault, you must fix everything. We need the business owners and the property owners to come together and say, we are all together, we want to invest in our community and be part of this, and we need the city to be a partner. And that's what I'm hearing today, and I am tremendously excited about all of that. And again, it takes those community champions. So what we've been doing is sitting at the table and offering resources and education to those champions. And we're very excited because, as Ms. Terry Cole mentioned, that is getting nudged in the right direction. And I'm very excited to be able to be a partner along with the Chamber and others in supporting this initiative.
Now, there are a host of business folks who are here with us today, and I want to thank them all for coming first and foremost. And Sarah can kind of help organize if folks want to talk to them. But we do want to have one in particular speak with us before we conclude and have some closing remarks. Because really, you know, the Business Improvement District, or the BID, as we've talked about, that is kind of from the community up. And so it takes somebody who's actually organizing it. And so today with us, we have one of those critical key lead organizers, Bill Kelleher.
Right, that's rare that I'm one of the key guys, but what I am is just a person, member of the community, who was making telephone calls to other property owners in downtown Albuquerque. And that's all it takes. I call them up, I say, hey, do you want to improve downtown? And they all say yes. And I give them a little education about the process. And the first step in the process is petitioning City Council. We've had great support from Area, from the Chamber, from the Council, from Councilor Baca, from the Mayor, from MRA. Everybody supports it, and we are going to get it done. We're going to petition the Council to form a bid, and then we're going to, that bid is, well, the council will appoint the planning committee of property owners, and those property owners are going to decide, what do we need downtown? How much is that going to cost? And how are we going to pay for it? And we're going to need some professional help, frankly, but we're going to make that happen, and it's going to be good. Albuquerque's downtown used to be better, and it can be better. It can be better than it's ever been, and it will be. And so anyway, if you're a property owner, you can expect to hear from me. And if you don't hear from me, please give me a call. I want to talk to you. Thanks.
Thank you, Bill. All right, so I think we have time for a few questions. I know if there's many questions, many folks can stay after as well, but I want to close with a couple of related things. I don't want anyone to forget for a minute what is good about downtown already, and I think the counselor alluded to this. You know we have challenges, but we love in many ways our authenticity, in some ways our rawness, our grit. I, for one, love the El Rey. And I'm down here, at 2 a.m. sometimes at concerts. So I want folks to know that we are never going to compromise the sort of identity and what makes downtown special already as part of this. So yes, we are going to continue to have awesome low riding on Sunday nights. We're going to try and do it better and safer as we do. But yes, we are going to welcome amazing new things like the Ex Novo Brewing restaurant that opened last week that it has an hour-and-a-half wait on Sunday for lunch. And so we also have amazing things like the 505 food court and, Canvas Artistry. There are amazing things downtown that most Burqueños don't even know about. And so I do want you to know already there are great things going on downtown. And want to remind everyone also, two more things. One, the businesses that are here, the businesses that have not left, the businesses that are moving downtown, like Ex Novo that I just mentioned, and some of the others that are more recent, we're grateful for them. And they are part of this, right? Part of the bid, part of the TIF that is all also meant to help the established entrepreneurs and folks that are committed to downtown and have been for decades. And then lastly, don't forget, in 2026, there are going to be hundreds of students downtown every day because the C&M Film Academy is about half done. And it is real in every way. It's just a matter of time. And that is going to also do wonders for picking up all things downtown. So with that, thank you so much. And Sarah, if you want to do a little Q&A. Good job, everyone.
Mayor, it sounds like you're arguing that the city can in general be a better partner for downtown if a bid exists in ways that it can't do today. I'm curious what that looks like kind of from the 11th floor in day-to-day mundane examples. Like, what are some concrete ways that a bid helping downtown can help you help downtown back?
Sure. I think we've always had this give and take where, look, every mayor wants to help downtown, and so does every city councilor. Let's just be clear. There's always been intent. But what happens is you get a whipsaw effect of sort of request and willingness to help with, blame for things not being that much better. So from the 11th floor, it's like, we need festivals downtown. We need more activity. So then we're like, okay, let's do First Fridays. But then we do First Fridays and it's like, oh, the traffic's bad. Or, and then it's not regulated well enough. And then it's like, so it's like, well, we just wanted us to do First Fridays, Or it's like, let's have more events on Civic Plaza. And you get the same thing. We have a concert downtown. Wu-Tang comes, RZA, or I can't remember if it was RZA or Jizza. And like, that's a huge deal because I was a Wu-Tang fan. And, but then everyone's like, why is Wu-Tang? I mean, this is like, this happens all the time. I mean, moving a parking meter, closing the street that used to be closed right here, and then opening it again. And so what's missing is there's this constant tension between looking up to the magical City Hall for answers, but then also City Hall, like frankly, not being able to deliver in long, sustainable ways, right? So everyone's kind of trying, but I think to Terry Cole's point, really, it's about the community owning their own community. That's what we need. We got to get out of this dynamic of request and respond and disappointment. That cycle is what we've been in for 30 years.
But why can't City Hall deliver in a long-term way, right?
Because two reasons. City Hall is not, a magical kingdom where you're in control of everything. So the City Hall often does not actually have the power to move roads and, get rid of underpasses, at the drop of a hat. These take years to work on. So there's just the notion that City Hall literally can't just, this summer is going to be an amazing summer for downtown. Like, things are hard and they take too long. And the other one is funding, right? So with respect to funding, like to actually have $200 million to put in downtown, that is, on average, we probably spend about $4 to $8 million at best on any given year downtown. $200 million is a completely different story. and the community gets to decide it. That's what's so amazing about the TIF. It's not actually city council where it gets carved up 9 ways and things like this. So, this is how other cities have done it. So you just got to give downtown the control and the funding to control their own destiny, and get the politicians out of the way.
Mayor, can I add to that, do you mind? So I think what the mayor said is exactly on point, but what I would add is the difference between a bid that's privately run and a bid that's government, is that one is incentivized for entrepreneurship and innovation, and the other is incentivized, as it should be, to following the rules and not getting out of lane. And for a bid to be exciting and productive and successful, it has to be driven by entrepreneurial people looking for innovative ways to get the job done. And that is how they are incentivized. So that's the basic difference that I think that the mayor described. And it's also what we've seen in every city we've benchmarked, and we've been to, for heaven's sakes, I mean, I don't want to get into a litany here, but we've been to probably 10 or 12 cities that have succeeded here, that have been successful, and they just found new ways to do things, and they were incentivized for it.
Hey, if I could squeeze in a question real quick. Jacob Miranda from Albuquerque Business First. I wanted to ask about the other acronym, the TIF acronym. I recognize TIFs might not be the most popular mechanism to kind of boost economic development, so I'm curious what your guys' plans are to maybe assuage public concern over TIFs being implemented here downtown.
Yeah, and let's both do it.
Okay.
So I just want to say, we have, in general, there's a long history with tax increment in New Mexico, and I was even a part of it as a state senator. And my view has always been that it should be for infill improvements. That's why I supported the Windrock TID, and I opposed other TIDs that support sprawl. So to me, in general, to your point about like controversy, this fits in this notion of investing in our core and our communities that need it, which is vastly different than other TIDs, which are used for other purposes, typically on the outskirts of the city.
Yes, and I would say too, what's unique about this program is it only applies to metropolitan redevelopment areas. So there's only 22 of those in mainly the older parts of town. So you won't see an explosion of TIFs immediately across the city, which has been an issue in some communities across the U.S. And I think the other thing to keep in mind is that we've talked to other communities that have tax increment financing, and we've heard from them over and over that transparency around the deal making, around how you run the TIF is super important. So we'll be looking into that pretty heavily to make sure the public knows exactly where the money's going, how it's being spent. And understanding too, this doesn't mean that there's any increase in taxes. It doesn't affect school funding or special assessment districts. It's really just building, it's in a sense a bet on the future success of an area. So you're not dipping into your base level of taxation. You are just reinvesting the money that is growing out of that original investment. So I think that should assuage any fears that people have about it.
Anyone else? All right, I think we're all good. Thank you, everyone.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Oh, yeah, thanks a lot. That was good. Oh, no.